What up, Cowboys Nation? It's your boy DMV back with another one. Got my boy Elton on the line. Say what's up to the people, Elton.
What up, everybody?
All right, cool. So we're gonna get on into it. So the one thing we had a little bit of homework this week to some Cowboys prospects, and so we want to kind of start a position series since things are going pretty slow right now and there's not much going on. So what we want to do is we want to go by positions. We know that there are a lot of needs right now with the Cowboys, like for example, that we can always add on to our roster. So we got tight ends that we can touch. We got running backs possibly, safety for one, D tackle. These are positions that we have talked about. So today we want to talk about the safety position. And so the homework that we had was our goal was to try and come up with our top 5 safeties, and we were going to break them down. And ultimately, what we want to talk about is how they could fit in with our roster. So, so with you, did you have an opportunity to look at safeties?
I actually got an opportunity to look at a couple, but because I was at work and then work stuff happened, so I ended up not getting them all. But it was a couple safeties I had already knew off the top of my head, sort of like Deontay Thompson from Alabama. He is real rangy, so on me, he definitely fit. But I saw he is probably a first-round pick unless something happens during the draft process. But a name to me is like Joe. I don't even know how to pronounce his first name. I actually think it's Joan Johnson from Miami.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so for me, Deontay Thompson is definitely on the list. Like I have a top 5 right now. Deontay Thompson is actually from looking at tape, he's actually my number 5 out of the group. And keep in mind, we bunched together free safeties and strong safeties. I have him as my number 5. I do see the one thing that he does that we like is he plays the one high. He's a great open field tackler from what I see. Pretty good in run support. The only thing that I'm not sure about with him is how great he is at diagnosing plays. And think about it, when you're at Alabama DB, you're having that great pass rush. For the most part, they're known for having a pretty solid linebacker. You can keep things really simple on the back end with Alabama. And ultimately, what we see with Alabama safeties in the league is they run into a little bit of trouble when they have to deal with a different type of an athlete out there when they're stuck on the island. And every year we get Alabama DBs that are rated really, really high,
and they never pan out.
Exactly, and I know that's one of the things that you touched on, but I think that Deontay Thompson was my number 5. Another guy who's my number 4 was this guy out of Virginia. His name is Juan Thornhill. He's a strong safety over there, but he does a lot of things. He played nickel linebacker in their scheme. A lot of times they brought in 5 DBs, and he sometimes manned the middle as the middle linebacker in that scheme. Not afraid, pretty tough, looks a lot stronger than what he really is, very versatile. I actually have an ex-player that I used to coach that said I actually called him up and asked him a couple of things about him. And he said that he was a great teammate, natural-born leader, very quiet. He's a freak athlete. They say he has a 40-inch vertical. So, yeah. And he's about 6 feet. Dude is a freak athlete. Kind of reminds me what does that remind you of? Somebody that we have on this team already, right?
Byron Jones.
Yeah, but I think he's a little bit more versatile than Byron Jones. Now, I know that Byron Jones played safety and corner, so that's one of the things that they really liked about him. I ain't never seen no damn Byron Jones playing linebacker, though. Never.
No.
So that was one thing that I really liked about him. He's just a good football player. And but I believe he's pretty skinny, and they can add a little bit more size to his team. But I think that he's pretty good. You named a couple guys. One of the guys you named was Jaquan Johnson out of the U. So what did you like about him?
he actually has that you swag. I mean, he's a playmaker. I mean, of course, being a playmaker, he actually is prone to getting beat because he's always trying to make the big play over just the small play. But people looked at Ed Reed like that, and actually Ed Reed
Yeah.
probably got put with Ray Lewis, who made him study the game over just freelancing, and it worked out for him. And I think somebody like that with a Chris Rashada, and plus he is projected to be around where we would pick. So to me, I like that. I mean, he is fast, rangy. I mean, it's definitely an upgrade over Jeff Heath.
Yeah, and I think that's what we're looking to draft, in my opinion. I think that we're looking for an upgrade over Jeff Heath. And I mean, it's the overall consensus that the Cowboys are probably going to make a play at Earl Thomas. So you're probably looking at somebody that they're going to pair with them, a young guy that will be there to take the reins. And in our scheme, as many know, both guys are interchangeable. So they probably, in my opinion, what they should be looking for is a guy that when Earl is done, probably in 3 years, that's going to be your leader in that defense. So another guy that I really like, let's see, my number 3 was somebody, you're going to probably hate this since you're a Seminole fan, but this guy from Florida, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. This guy right here was touted as somebody that Deion Sanders really thought highly of. But I mean, ultimately, Deion thinks highly of a lot of DBs out there. But,
yeah.
I mean, he pretty Deion. How do I say it? Deion anoints a lot of DBs, bro, over the time. So
yeah, and Florida DBs always scare me at the next level. They look great in college. Next level, you like, other than Joe Hayden, you like.
I mean, I thought Taylor May was all right. I thought he was pretty solid. They're better than Alabama DBs, in my opinion.
Because who is the flagship for Alabama DBs? Landon Collins?
About it. But Chauncey, he does a great job in space shedding blocks. That's one thing that I know about him. If you know about DBs, he fills the out, and what he does is he does that little push pull joint pretty well, and takes away the space for the running backs out there. He closes the space and he does a good job of allowing his teammates to come and make the tackle. The one thing that I heard about him is that he freelances, so he does a lot of wildcatting out there. But what he does is he plays a lot bigger than what his size is, and he has pretty solid ball skills. I like that he's scrappy, and ultimately, who we have on our team that's kind of scrappy right now, I would say Anthony Brown, but
Jordan
not
Lewis.
at the same. Yeah, Jordan Lewis. So scrappy guys normally work out pretty well for us at that in the DB. So Chauncey is a free safety, and I see that he's pretty versatile. So is there anybody else that you like? Because I have some guys that I like that I'm gonna touch on. I see in the comment section. That people are talking about. Is there anybody else? What about Jonathan Abram? Did you like Jonathan Abram out of Mississippi State?
I don't think I've seen him play. What is the guy out of Washington?
Taylor Rapp. Taylor Rapp. Yeah, I'm gonna touch on him.
Yeah. I like Taylor Rapp.
Yeah.
Washington DBs ball. One thing about me with DBs because I played it. If you I don't like when they school translate to the next level. So like Ohio State DBs have translated Florida State's Washington is coming up as a DBU. Them guys have been panning out.
Yeah, I agree. The one thing that I really like about Taylor Rapp is that, and I have him rated as my number 2 safety that I have, is that he can play center field, so he's very versatile. He can play center field. He can come down. He can rob. He can play your 2 shell safety. He always in the screen, dude. Always in the screen, no matter what the play is. It could be a run. He could be out the screen to start the play. You always see number 7 come in the screen. He appears to diagnose plays pretty well, which is something that we are missing in our defensive scheme. Somebody that can diagnose plays before they happen and just so happen to fly down and make plays. I think, but
because that is the big reason they want Earl Thomas.
Yeah, but just imagine being able to have two safeties that can do that, but both of them being interchangeable. I think Taylor is big enough to be able to play at the line a couple of times. I'm not sure how well he takes on blocks. That's one thing that I have to take on, because keep in mind, if we're looking for a Jeff Heath replacement, sometimes they put Jeff Heath in as the nickel linebacker, and in our scheme, and you saw what happened in the Rams game when they was tearing his ass up. So this person that we would have to put in that position probably have to take on blocks every once in a while, but be able to shed them. Like I talked about Chauncey Gardner Johnson doing a very good job of that. So I need to see more out of Taylor Rapp as far as that goes, but fills alleys pretty well and is a knack for finding the football, which is something that
we need.
Replace Jeff Heath. That's one thing Jeff Heath did pretty well. If it was tipped in the air, he normally was the guy that was picking the ball off. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Let's see. We talked about Jonathan Abram. We talked about Juan Thornhill. We talked about – so my number one guy, and I'm not sure you know who this guy is, but you're going to know who he is. It's a guy out of a small school called Delaware. His name is Nasir Adderley. And this dude is an absolute animal. He's my number one safety on the board. The one thing about him is that he appears comfortable. We were just talking about Ed Reed. He reminds me of a little bit more physical Ed Reed. And he's at a small school, and that's been, when I've looked up scouting reports and stuff like that, that's been the knock on him, is that he's in small schools, but he has a lot of range, has great eyes for the position. So he's another guy that's on the screen a lot, but you see him actually diagnosing the play before it happens. Like you see him like, okay, I know this guy's coming here, so I'm going to step up and I'll be able to make a play, or I'm going to take it away from the quarterback. You see him against North Dakota State, which we all know North Dakota State, when it comes to FCS, is the class of
yeah.
And he looked pretty solid against them. He's looked pretty solid on tape. He had a pretty good Senior Bowl, and I think that for me, he's the one that jumped out in front of everybody. He's close to Taylor Rapp. They're about neck and neck for me. Probably tomorrow I'll think Taylor Rapp is here. He's here. But I seen this Bama jump a damn route in the Senior Bowl practices, and I mean, just imagine your safety being able to do that, jumping routes. That's something that we have not seen in the blue and silver. In
Darren Woodson.
Darren Woodson, remember Brock Marion? I seen Brock Marion jump a couple routes as well. So we haven't seen that since then. So that's something for. But
I don't mind those small school guys because they come with something to prove.
And normally, I'll tell you this much. When we draft the smaller school guys, that normally pans out for us. I don't know why, but I mean, if you look at it, man, like Boise State, all the Boise State people we've gotten have panned out. So if we get a smaller school guy, you know that the guy can play. So being that we touched on some of the safety prospects, how do you think Chris Richard feels about it as far as the safety position? Like,
I think he likes Xavier Woods. To me, I think he likes Jeff Heath also. I mean, he's playing hard. I think he knows we need Earl Thomas. I think he was pushing, hey, Jerry, come on. Because you remember at that last moment before week one, Jerry finally said, all right, we will give you the second round pick you want. Then they said, nah, we want a first. Because I think at that moment it was Chris Richard, especially because Xavier Woods had got hurt. He was like, go and do it. Give him the second.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. I think that Chris Richard understands that the safety position is the center of his scheme. I think that I talked about it live earlier a little bit, but I think that in Seattle, they were able to run a base cover three or cover three, and everybody knew what it was. But ultimately, when you got a robbing safety like a Cam Chancellor who does a very good job of roaming and robbing his set areas, you got a middle linebacker like you're doing Bobby Wagner who does a good job of pushing routes upfield, pushing and keeping routes up under him and redirecting routes. And then when you got a guy in center field that if any ball is tipped or if any ball is thrown errantly, he's getting picked off with Earl Thomas. I think that, ultimately you can have guys with longer arms that are from smaller schools playing your corners that you can flip flop in there and make interchangeable. So yep. I look to see us probably get to that. Now, that first year we had to kind of go with what the personnel was. And as you can see, Jordan Lewis, we love Jordan Lewis. He's a fan favorite. For the life of me, I can't figure out why we can't get him on the field a little bit more. But you saw that he didn't really fit into what Rashard likes on the outside as a corner. And so they kind of moved him inside, which, I mean, because he wasn't tall enough like Cheeto and Byron. But I think that eventually you're going to probably see a change in what we do as far as the personnel on the outside. So how do you feel about that? Do you agree with what I'm saying, or do you see it a little bit differently?
To me, it all depends on if they make Rashard the full-on DC. Because I think if he just keeps it for a year and becomes a head coach, it'll probably be status quo. But if he stays DC, say 3 or 4 years, yeah, I agree.
Okay, I keep hearing about this Amani Hooker guy from, I believe he's from Iowa. Now, I personally haven't seen much of him. Have you?
Neither, no.
A lot of them? Yeah, so like when I was looking at prospects, guys, I was looking at prospects from like CBS Sports. They do not have Amani Hooker on there, but I promise what I will do is I will do a full breakdown on Amani Hooker. I know that Iowa is normally, that's a Big Ten school, so they
usually have good linemen.
Yeah, good linemen and stuff like that. I know they had a good corner last year. I forget.
Desmond King.
Huh?
Desmond King?
No. It was somebody else. I think Desmond King was he might have been the year before. They had a guy last year. I forget. He had a whole bunch of picks. He had like 8 picks. Let me check.
Because I know that because I believe that tight end won the Mackey Award this year. Fontaine something.
Let's see. Can anybody find out who that corner was that we're talking about? Because I know that Joseph is. I see. Joseph is talking about He talked about Amani Hooker. So Joseph, who was the corner last year that Iowa had? And right now, it's a good time to talk on the chat box. A couple people are talking. Steve Mack said that like pretty much as far as safeties that we draft, it kind of depends on if we sign the free agency or not. Safety and free agency. Said if you sign a young guy, you can hold off till later, but if we get Earl Thomas, you still need to draft a guy earlier because of injuries. And you know what? That's pretty much what we were talking about a little bit. For me, I totally agree with that. I mean, I'm bringing in the heir apparent because, we don't know how long we have with Earl. And ultimately, if we get him, I mean, you're not looking at a 5 contract.
No, you're looking at 2 to 3.
Exactly. And so what I'm thinking with that 2 to 3 is you make it probably guaranteed money in order for you to actually land him. Oh, Josh Jackson was the guy. Josh Jackson.
Yep, I remember him.
Okay. What was you about to say about Earl?
Oh yeah, to me it's a 2 to 3 year project. You let him mentor the young guys and actually hope you get his last 2 good years and Hopefully that brings you a Super Bowl. But yeah, Earl is in the long-term projection. He is that hired gun.
Okay, so let's say hypothetically, you bring in Earl, right? What type of a safety would you bring in as far as this draft goes to pair with him? Because you obviously, you're not going to go out and get a guy that's primarily a center fielder. So, what are the qualifications that you're looking for in this draft if we were to bring in a safety?
You actually kind of want a Cam Chancellor light. You actually can't really do what Cam did now because whatever Cam did now is a damn penalty. So you can't have somebody just knocking people out because that'll take the offense all the way down the field. But somebody in that mode.
Okay, yeah, I kind of agree. I want somebody that's a little bit more physical, a guy who can play at the line, take on some blocks. Um, I think that, but I also want a guy that can, if Earl does go down, we could put Heath in his spot and then he can go back to where Earl was. Or I mean, X Woods is pretty solid in center field. So ultimately what I'm looking for is a guy that we're gonna put in that if we do get Earl, it's gonna be better than what X Woods is. Or
yeah, at least.
I'm
We
looking
hope.
because ultimately what we're looking for is depth there. And if you can, because I mean, yeah, Kayvon Frazier is a fan favorite. We like Kayvon a lot, but
Yeah, Kayvon is good for a game or two. He's not really a guy you want out there for 9-10 games.
exactly. So like Kayvon reminds us, or he reminds me of Keith Davis. Guy you keep for special teams and stuff like that, and he can lay a big hit on special teams here and there, but I mean, for the most part, I mean, if we can find the safety, put it this way: if Jeff Heath is your fourth safety, you're doing some good things.
Yep, definitely. And even though Jeff has showed you he can play 16 games, it's not by choice, but if Jeff comes in, Jeff is going to be solid.
And keep this in mind: we were a top 10 defense with Jeff Heath actually out there. He didn't really have a bad year. I had probably his best year as a safety. That's what I would say. I think that Chris Rashad worked wonders with him. But ultimately, for what we want, I think we can say collectively, this isn't what we want. We want something a little bit better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So hypothetically, let's say we don't get Earl. And we're looking at having X Woods, we have Jeff Heath, Kayvon Frazier,
and a new safety, whoever that may be.
So my question is, okay, if we don't get Earl, what type of safety do you want to pair with Xavier Woods? Because I don't think X Woods is going anywhere.
Probably somebody, sort of. Even though that actually really isn't our scheme, like a Palomalu type. Because Troy could do just about everything. He can center field. He can come down, be the eighth man in the box, blitz. Somebody who sort of like what we wanted Roy Williams to be when actually Brian Woodson was there.
So you're talking about somebody that kind of freelance, kind of roam type, or?
Yeah.
Okay, so based on those characteristics, in my opinion, there's a couple guys that could fit that mold. We're looking at Taylor Rapp, possibly. Now, these
I like that.
That are possible at number 58. Yeah, I see on the board they have Taylor Rapp as like the number 44 overall prospect, but
but the draft day, anything can happen.
Yeah, exactly. Keep in mind, quarterbacks haven't climbed up the board. They climb up the board every year. Kyler Murray just told everybody in the world that he wants to focus on being a franchise quarterback. So I'm pretty sure.
And it's going to be somebody at the combine who runs a 4.29 40. He actually bench reps 50 times. So that guy's going to jump in the first. You're like, who?
Yeah, you're gonna be like John Ross. Yeah, true.
Who? Like, it's somebody who's gonna have an amazing workout and jump in the first round. Plus, you just got the guy from Mississippi State who, towards ACL, was like the number 12 overall prospect. So he's about to slide down. He is gonna be that fifth or sixth round bargain people go for. You like, all right, I will eye on him for a year.
Mm-hmm. Actually, what I'm looking at is like if we don't get a Thomas type safety, the type of guy that I would like, I do like X in the middle. I would kind of like somebody that's a little bit more interchangeable. Because I think that X Woods is a really solid tackler. I like the way that he hits. I like the way that he finishes. So I would like somebody that, you may not know exactly what it is that we're going to do. Like, yeah, if we decide to go to the cover 3 scheme, X Woods could be your robber, and this guy can slide over, and we can disguise things a little bit better. Especially being that we have a pretty solid rush right now. It might be pretty good to be able to disguise things a little bit. We might be able to get away with things a little bit more than we want to. I really like, and I think that he'll be here because right now he's the small school guy, number 60. I really like what Adderley brings. I know that he's about 6 feet, 200 pounds. He actually hits about as physical as Cam Chancellor is. I've seen this guy take on linemen and actually stalemate them. Now, yeah, it ain't D1 lineman. I mean, it ain't like Oklahoma lineman coming at him, but nonetheless, it's still a damn tackle coming full speed.
If you can play, you can play.
Huh?
I said, because if you can play, you can play.
Exactly. So normally what I look at with guys like they play at small schools, I normally see if you're in the right spot. Because ultimately the offenses are the same, principles are the same. Everybody goes to the same clinics. For the most part, everybody can diagnose what's going to happen. Coaches are really good at game plans and stuff. Now, execution is another thing. But when I can see a guy diagnose what's going to happen right before it happens, and you just see it with your own eyes, there's something to it. Now, you may not know why that guy's at that small school. He might have been a late bloomer. He might not have been recruited well coming out of school or whatnot, and this is the only school that gave him a scholarship. So it's a little bit different when you're looking at small school guys, but you just kind of look at not necessarily how they execute, but how they dominate, and if they're dominating, not necessarily like with their athleticism, but up here. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, it is sort of what people thought about Leighton Vander Esch last year. Is he really that good? He only played 1 year.
Yeah,
8-man. But when you watch the tape, be like, he diagnoses to play well.
Exactly. The one knock that I had on Leighton last year was that he ducked wreck a little bit. And you kind of saw it in the Rams game a little bit. If you don't put a body on him, I mean, if you don't put no bodies up front, you know what I mean? Like we gonna struggle a little bit with this guy with Adderley. I really didn't see that too much, but I still got to diagnose a little bit more tape. I know at the Senior Bowl they were really high on him. And another guy that I was touching on that I think that I was talking about a little bit more interchangeable and being able to do a lot more things. My second guy, I mean, obviously Taylor Rapp is a beast, but Juan Thornhill out of Virginia, really lengthy, rangy. It really impressed me that they put him at middle linebacker. And that really just spells out to me, like, even though you have 5 DBs on the field, if I'm going to put you at middle linebacker, if I'm going to put you at corner, like, because they moved him to corner too, if I'm going to put you in center field, that just means that you can play football. And, you can't have a shortage of football players on your roster. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, for the part we covered safeties today. I promise that I'll go on Amani Hooker a little bit later. But is there anybody or anything that you touch on before we go?
How do you feel about Zeke saying if he'll get a contract extension, he may hold out this year?
I mean, for me, they don't do nothing for me because I say you need to draft a running back every 2 to 3 years anyway. And on another show, we're gonna touch on running backs anyway. I've been looking at them. I know you've been looking at them. I mean, we need to keep them fresh anyway. But for the most, which means you need to be looking at running backs. And if he's gonna hold out, if he's threatening, he only giving you leverage because you can just go out and running back. You're in a position right now where you can get the best player available. So, I mean, I know a lot of people don't want to, use that second round pick on a running back, but I mean, damn, if you got a Kamara or a Shady or that type of player right there available, I don't think you could go wrong picking them. That's just how I feel about it. And if Zeke wants to hold out, well, we prepared for it.
Yeah.
Are you in the same boat?
It actually made me feel a little uneasy. I'm like, because it seemed like one year we're good, then the next year something always happens. You're like, we can't get over the hump, and it gives me that feeling. I didn't really take Dak's comments on his contract too much, but to me, I mean, it was a little bit of, I'm not giving a hometown discount, which I don't blame him because he's basically playing for the league minimum, but it isn't what I want to hear going into this season.
Yeah, I mean, but at the same time, we can't ask him to take no damn hometown discount anyway. When you got I talked about it earlier, but when you got Kirk Cousins getting $80 million guaranteed, and he ain't won a damn thing in this league, how can we ask Dak to take anything less than what Kirk is making?
You really can. I know it's gonna be people, but Kirk throws for almost 4,000 yards.
He's 4-0 against Kirk. I don't give a damn. He's 4-0 against Kirk.
I'm like this. Kirk only wins 7 games a year. Who gives a shit if you're throwing 5,000 yards when you're losing? Stafford does the same thing. Throws for a whole bunch of yards, but only wins 6 games.
Yeah, and for me, it's about winning. I care about winning games. And if you put us in a position to win, that's all I care about. When them lights turn on and we need you to drive us down the field, do you take care of business? I don't care if you're a bus driver. You can bus drive all damn game. But if you can put me in a position to win, and then when it comes time for you to go ahead and win us the game, and you do it, that's what Joe Montana did his whole damn career, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, people, and he was the GOAT for a long time, but let's just keep it funky, man. Let's keep it 100. That's what a lot of them quarterbacks did. That's what Troy did. That's what Terry Bradshaw did. And we look at them, they're Hall of Famers. So
because they won when it mattered.
Tom Brady did it 2 times. His first 2 Super Bowls, and then actually did it 3 times. He did it 3 times. All I care about is, do you put us in the opportunity to win the bowl? And I believe that he does. I think we can get better in other areas. And guess what those quarterbacks needed that were bus drivers that at the right time stepped up? They had better teammates around them. Like Eli Manning. He had probably the best pass rush of all time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I can seem like a millennial saying that, but I believe he had the best pass rush that I've ever seen with my 2 eyes.
At least in the playoff stretch, yeah.
Hey, let me see. I'm gonna get to Kathy's question later, but Joseph Sandberg said that just don't overpay for pay's sake. 22.5 to 23 million, I think, is a win-win. He's talking about Dak, I guess, per year. I'm in the range of 22 to 25 million.
To me, that's fine. I mean, because what he's making $800,000 now, you got him for a bargain.
Yeah, and keep this in mind: you got him for a bargain, And then you look at people out there that's just not busting the grape. Like, bruh, like how can we tell him to take a hometown discount? You got Sam Bradford. You got Sam Bradford made $20 million. His last contract was what, $20 million with Arizona?
Yeah.
And we knew he was getting replaced, but damn, you mean to tell me that the backup market is $10 million a year? Jeez. No,
because I don't get this narrative of everything has to be perfect for Dak. He damn has to have great teammates. Name me a quarterback who don't need that. Peyton Manning. Look at Peyton Manning and Indy. He had Reggie Wayne and damn Marvin Harrison. Those was two of the top 10 receivers in the damn league. Dallas Clark was the top 5 receiver. He damn had a good old line. The defense wasn't great, but as far as offense, Edwin James in the back. Joseph Adai.
Yeah. If you look at it, really, I can really only name one quarterback where you can have interchangeable guys come in and out and then they still win, and that's the GOAT Tom Brady. Other than that, man, everybody needed some teams. Hell, Peyton Manning, you ain't even talk about him with the Broncos.
Yeah, you had him, man. You had Welker, damn, Demaryius Thomas. Yeah.
Emmanuel Sanders, C.J. Anderson.
Yeah, when he was skinny.
Yeah. Now he's a fat guy that just happens to be a cowboy killer.
Because look at when they gave Brady a damn real receiver, what he did.
He killed the game. As a matter of fact, that was probably the start of him being that elite quarterback that we really know him as. Joseph Sandberg said Trent Dilfer. Trent Dilfer, Brad Johnson, Bucks. Oh my God! Like you keep naming them. Joe Flacco, in my opinion, even though he had a really good playoff run.
Mark Ripken.
Ben Roethlisberger, Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Troy Aikman. Let's just keep it 100. Love Troy to death. Troy Aikman is on that list. I don't think he was a bus driver. I think he was a quarterback. Don't get me wrong. But
but Noah wanted to run the ball. Why not?
Think about this. When they didn't run the ball, we sucked. I think it was until they realized that, we got a workhorse in Emmett, and they started running, they realized that formula worked.
I think, which actually always proved my point, when damn Emmett held out, they actually still had the greatest line people have ever seen. They damn had the number 1 defense from the year before, and they damn couldn't muster 10 points.
Yeah, that's true.
And everybody say it's the O-line. No, it wasn't. It was Emmett. Because
man. Yo,
because they had Troy, Michael, J. Novacek, the damn Great Wall of Dallas, and damn Emmett held out for 2 games, and they damn couldn't score more than 10 points.
Yeah, you brought up a very good point, and we're gonna have this discussion. We're gonna have probably one of the shows. We're gonna have CJ on this joint. And we're going to have that Barry Sanders Emmett hash out. We're going to have that hash out, man. That's going to be pretty fun to have. People who don't understand our boy CJ, he has his channel, The Boxing Clinic and more. He's a big Detroit Lion fan, and he likes to poke fun at us all the time for the Barry Sanders being better than Emmett thing, which nobody ever argues. We really don't argue it, but everybody makes it seem like Emmett is just this bum. And, we have all the evidence in the world to prove that Emmett was the top running back in this game. And people just, Emmett was a bum. It was the line. It was this and it was that. So that should be fun.
Because I always tell people with this. Tony Casillas, 2-8, all of them was on that 1-15 team. They didn't start winning until they got Emmett.
Yeah.
Stepnoski was on that 1-15 team. 2-8 was on there. All of a sudden, they didn't become the Great Wall until they drafted Emmett.
Yeah. And I'm gonna save it for that show, man. I swear I'm gonna save it for that show. I'm not gonna give away my argument. Not gonna give away my argument. But
And
so
because I
Kathy,
always, because I
go
always
ahead.
say people don't know football if you think Burry could do what Emmett did in that system.
Nah, it would have been totally different, man. Totally different. So Kathy said, uh, she asked with Earl Thomas, like having he said had two of the same problems with the same leg. Do you believe that brings his value down?
Slightly, I think it's like I think if he didn't miss the season, his we would have to pay him a lot more. But with the injury concerns, I think it helps. But we are still gonna have to give him about 10, 11 million a year.
Here's why I disagree, and I don't think it brings the value down. You know why? Because he made it known he wants to be a Dallas Cowboy. So what are teams going to do? Teams like to cock block us for some odd reason. Philadelphia Eagles are one of them, obviously. But what teams are going to do is come in and offer him a lot of money. They're going to offer him something that he can't really refuse. And it's going to drive the price up to the point that we're going to have to overbid to bring Earl Thomas to Dallas. Because he's going to say, well, look, if you want me, come and get me, just like you said. So I know that Kansas City was really high on bringing him in. It's not like Kansas City can't use the help.
Because I know from everything I read, Kansas City had agreed to send that same second round pick. Seattle told us no to, and Seattle was going to give him to him, but he just happened to break his leg that week. They had pretty much how we agreed to the Amari Cooper trade before the Redskins game, but we actually was just going to say, okay, all right, let us finish this game and see what happens. But the trade was pretty much done. Kansas City and Seattle pretty much had that trade done for the same second round pick that actually the Cowboys wasn't good for, but they actually took it from them. Mainly sort of like the Pelicans and the Lakers. Yes, we already know you want to go to the Cowboys. We aren't going to trade you to them, but we will take that same second round pick from the Chiefs.
Okay, so CT Cowboy says, happy Tuesday, DMV. Sign Lawrence, find a solid defensive lineman in the draft, and we will be fine. Cut Hearns, Williams, and Irvin. How do you feel about that?
Hearns? I don't think they're going to. To me, I don't mind. I mean, we all pretty much know Terrence Williams is gone. Hearns, I think they might keep him because they like his versatility. He can play the slot, he can play outside, but it ain't gonna hurt my feelings if he's gone. I mean, I actually hope he gets well, but
I can't see them cutting him because he's going to be hurt, in my opinion. He'll probably be on IR or, not like what's the IR where you can't participate or whatever? Or,
pup.
yeah, pup. He'll probably be on pup or something like that. I can't see, like, with that injury happening so late in the year, he ain't gonna be able to participate in OTA. He ain't gonna be able to participate. And I just can't. They signed him to a 2-year deal, right?
Yeah. So
yeah, he probably gonna wind it out on pup and IR, and that'll probably be it. I don't see us cutting him.
Plus, I think they like Cedric Wilson, your guy, anyway. So I think they don't mind getting Cedric Wilson all the reps he can get.
Yeah, absolutely. As far as Irvin goes, man, yeah, I'm off the.
I'm out of it. The only damn Irvin I like is Michael.
In Irving, Texas.
Exactly. That is the only Irvin I damn want to hear about is Michael. I don't want to hear nothing about David. Now, if he comes in as a camp body for another year contract, so be it. But
yeah, I don't know. Somebody will sign him, man. He'll probably go to the Redskins and probably give Mama drama out here too or something. I mean, if he come out this way, man, he ain't gonna be able to stay out the clubs.
No, he ain't.
Baby mama drama out this way.
To me, I mean, I don't think he wants to play. I think he like what football provides for him, but I don't think he cares about playing football.
You're probably right, man. Because at the end of the day, you guys had a run. The Cowboys had a hell of a run, and you had an opportunity to jump in there and be a part of it. And I mean, like I don't know, man. I mean, but you never know what somebody's going through, man. I just know football field. The football field is supposed to be where you get away from that, and
To me, because it's been 2 years in a row that he missed a chunk of a season off a concussion. I damn know concussion can be serious, but not a 7 week concussion. He missed what basically the last 9 games with a high ankle. No, because he missed the last 11 games because two including the playoffs with a high ankle sprain.
true.
I'm like, to me, I mean, if he goes somewhere and performs, so be it. But
Okay, so Kathy says, so do you think we should re-sign Cole Beasley?
I am not against it. I like Cole Beasley, but only if they're gonna use him right. But let him. Cole Beasley's gonna be in New England next year.
Man, look, I let him test the market, dude, because New England ain't gonna pay him no. New England ain't gonna pay him what we probably would pay him to stay.
But damn, he gonna get 90 receptions in New England.
No, he's not over Edelman. His ass gonna be.
Shit, I think it's not working.